Today I'm reviewing Fear the Walking Dead Season 6, Episode 13, JD. What did I think of it, what did I find, and what do I think is going to happen next? I'm also going to break down and get into the trailer of Episode 14 too, because it's called Mother, and Alicia is said to face her past, so we've got to talk about that now. Of course, before we begin, make sure you subscribe so that you're the first to see my videos. And check out the Discord for all the latest. So this episode starts off with Morgan being a bit of a bitch. I was actually surprised that he just stood there laying into June about if she had already been here and didn't have to get sent away, Grace's baby would have been fine. He was like, how dare you kill someone that I couldn't kill, and then I got angry and sent you away, it's all your fault. Well, Morgan, maybe if you pulled the axe out of your arse, you'd be able to see that June did the best thing that all parties apart from you wanted. It's all good to say this is what John would have wanted. Yeah, well, John's dead. He doesn't have to deal with the world right now. And he's a sort of a nice person that wouldn't want you to get revenge. That's the only thing I've ever disliked about Morgan, this tedious shit that he does. He stopped doing it now, I mean, there's always time, but this not killing shit is only good for someone that hasn't killed themselves. It's fair enough to be upset at June for what she did, but to sit there and say it's her fault about Grace's baby? She was killing someone because she thought she was responsible for her husband's death. Anyone who has just lost their husband would do the same thing. In fact, Morgan, I think you would have done a lot worse. Don't talk shit to June, standing there with his f***ing arms crossed like he's never done shit like that. I love Morgan more than most characters in The Walking Dead, but to stand there and stare at her for like a whole year in silence, how dare you do this? I hope you feel like shit. Like she doesn't feel like shit already. I'm not a massive fan of June, but I think she did something that Morgan just couldn't do.
Stop thinking about how the baby might be alive if we didn't have to come to you.
I can't stop thinking about ways that we can make you feel like shit because your husband's just died, and our little baby has because of you too.
It wouldn't have made a difference.
Don't you say it.
Dwight and Sherry are out talking to June when they get shot at, and it's revealed this is John Dorie's father, John Dorie Senior. And he's been onto the Doomsday People for years. And he explains how Teddy has been doing this to people since before the apocalypse for over 40 years. And him and June work together to find out more. Meanwhile, we get some more awkward arguments with Dwight and Sherry, where Sherry drops the bombshell of wanting to go back to who started all of this. Negan. It was just so funny to me because at this point she's just blaming everyone else apart from herself. The superior person blames themselves, the inferior person blames others. And that's all Sherry's done. She even blamed it once on her relationship with Dwight, not giving a shit about him because this might be the problem. It's alright as long as Sherry gets what she wants. She really thinks that nearly 2 years after the War of the Saviours, Negan is to blame of their current problems. Okay, well, you ran off, so don't start talking shit. Negan's been dealt with. I don't know why you're still crying about it. You ran off. You would have seen it if you stayed. No, you ran off. It's done. You don't get to go back and do that now. She says she wants to go back to Virginia and finish Negan. And we know she didn't do it because years after, when Season 10 starts, well, of course, the end of Episode 5 of Season 9 when Rick left, she didn't come back because Negan's still there. I know it sounds like I dislike Sherry, but I don't. I'm starting to quite like... Dwight is such a pushover, like, and I joke about it, but it's like a... it's an actual fucking issue. Like, at the end they talk about, oh, I'm the person I used to be. Well, Dwight, you might want to be the person you used to be, because right now you're a fucking pussy. I like Dwight, but I have no respect for him. I really like John Dorie Senior. I don't actually see him surviving that long. I do think he's actually something that will go with the nuke. But I do like him, and I hope he doesn't. I think he'd actually die saving June. That's just what I'm getting from his time that he's already had in the show. Like, because he left John, I think the only appropriate way to end his story now is if he does something to save June and dies in the process. Of course, at the end he goes back and they start talking about a plan and how to stop Teddy. But I don't think they will. Ever since we heard about this nuke, I knew it would be set off. It was going to happen. And as we've got closer, the showrunners have continuously said, like, it's going to change what fear is in a big way, in many ways. So what do I think John Dorie Senior is going to do? If he doesn't make it, then what's the point of him coming back and plotting against Teddy? Well, he said it himself, he wished he had just killed Teddy. but also that maybe it's not too late. So that's what I think he'll do. He will kill Teddy, but I think the nuke will still be set off and he will go down with it. I really like him, and I think this taught me that I like it when a character's parents or older family member takes over than I do when their kids take over, because it's a kid. I just don't care. It's not just The Walking Dead, it's happened in a few things I love. I just don't care for some kid taking over. I don't care if it's yours. I don't like the kid. But I would like, however, if, an older version of you took it on. Especially when it's like an older version, a cooler version of John Dorie. I actually prefer, okay, let's not go too far. At the end, June, John's dad, Sherry and Dwight stand over his grave and she reads out the letter. And it was really good and really sad. But what I actually really like about it is that Dwight's there. Because like I said, he was the first person Dwight met in Fear, and this is what his life is now. And I think he needs to pay tribute somehow, and I really like that he was there when June read it out. I haven't been this sad about a character's death for a while, and it's funny how he died a few episodes ago, and it's still really sad. Something that came to mind as soon as I saw him was, how would he feel about Dakota? June hasn't actually told him how he died. He saw the 2 rings in the letter, the gun. But what would he do if he found out? Would he kill Dakota? I think it actually all comes down to what John would have wanted. We know June's going to follow by that now, but will he? It really depends, because it could go either way, but I think it's actually quite likely that he sees her as almost a daughter. They start talking, he's like, no, I left John's, I'm going to do the same thing to you. It's some backwards bullshit, but I just think that's something Phil would do. Now, again, I don't actually feel like I want Dakota to even die. I'm okay with it because of how they handled it. If they were doing that Charlie shit, like, yeah, I feel sorry for her, she killed John, Mum's dead now, well, nah, you can find. This was one of those episodes where I'll say they didn't need explosions and shit for it to be good. Really liked it. Thought it was really good. Now, let's look at episode 14. So I've had quite a few people send this to me because it's called Mother, and the description for this episode says Alicia will reunite with old friends and must face her past. Now, for the first time, I'm gonna say it's not Madison. We learned from season 5 and 6 that Fear the Walking Dead spoon feeds us. So what are we gonna stop doing? Opening our mouth and eating the shit. I hate it when Fear does this. It's only these showrunners I've ever done this with anything I've ever witnessed and experienced myself. It's Fear saying it's Madison when it's not. It's some disappointing shit. So I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think it's Madison. God, I'm going to look like a fucking idiot now if it's Madison. First of all, going down a virtual list, let's just look at what it could be. A hallucination, a flashback scene. If she's having to face her past, that's what it could be. It could also be just her talking about her past. Now remember, we have got some solid stuff to say that Madison has been teased, but like I said, this is what Fear does. It's like fucking Pennywise down the drain with a red balloon. Now, looking at Alicia's reaction to allegedly seeing someone from her past.
Is that you?
The first thing I think of is Qualateka Walker. Let's just call him Walker, because whatever just happened there needs to not happen again. So Walker and his friend Lee, they watched the explosion at the dam and they helped out, but when they saw it succumb to the explosion, they just walked off. And I think I'd actually prefer him coming back than Madison at this point. I really like him. He would add so much to this show. And I think it would make an interesting conversation hearing why he walked away and that he actually saw what happened. If it was Madison, I think it would be a very different reaction to what she does here. This is more of an old friend, which is what they actually tell us happens. She reunites with old friends. So yeah, Walker and Lee. What a fantastic addition to the characters we've already got, because if you think about it, we are likely going to be losing some characters, some to the nuke, and hopefully some to the CRM. If it is Morgan and Althea, that's 2 big characters gone. So yeah, bring Walker and Lee back. They are some of the few missing old friends that the description of this episode could be referring to. I don't want to say it's Alex, because it wasn't Alicia's old friend, was it? There is a lot of characters with no secured on-screen fate, and it's a list I don't care to go down. She reunites with old friends. Walker and Lee are perfect for that. It could be an old friend that Alicia knew at high school that we've never seen before, which would be annoying, but okay if it's a good character. I don't want it to be another moaning idiot that we're forced to care about just because Alicia cares about them. be good and earn the care. But what do you think? Who do you think Alicia will see when she faces her past? Who is she looking at here? Who are these old friends? What did you think of episode 13? Let me know what you think down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure you press the like button. It will help me out and get this video seen by more people. If you did like it, then watch this one, where I play as Daryl in The Walking Dead Onslaught and find some very interesting stuff along the way. Some big CDC experiment stuff, so make sure you go and check that out. Really recommend it. Oh shit. The CDC. And check this one out to see why Morgan will be taken by the CRM at some point in Fear the Walking Dead, hopefully at the end of Season 6. Find out why in this video. And of course, make sure you subscribe so that you're the first to see my videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.
And let's get to work.